start by saying that it's really great that we have a council now, because I think it's important to have an engine house that actually, thinks through and designs the work, our response to climate change. But I think it will also help the council to have international organizations as member of this council, especially as they will, to a large extent, have the resources to be able to support the council. So it might be good to expand it to include international organizations. But more importantly, I think it's important that the council looks from goals to action. What exactly are the goals you want to achieve in the short, medium, and long term, so that you're not drawn into 1,000 places? Because it is that goal that will determine what you will do in the next 5 years, and will help you determine who is going to be
actions you're going to take.
part of your change process. I said that because I was a little worried when I heard the representative of the DB saying they're going to have offices at the state and local government, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again, another bureaucracy. Because once you do that, 70% of the resources is going to go to the current expenditure, is going to go to paying salaries and buying cars and things like that, and there'll be no money left. There's a different approach. The Ford Foundation, we are covering West Africa. We have one office in Lagos, and we have 10 staff, including the driver. That's it. So how are we doing it? One would think we should have offices in Senegal, in Ghana, in Rwanda, in Sierra Leone, and wherever. And then even within those countries, how do you reach the communities at the end? So you have an office in Accra, but you also have to have in all the regions. By the time you are done, when you guys write for branch, you'll get $10. So it's important to look at the bureaucracy. I think it's also important for civil society to really look at what their role is. I'm so concerned, maybe because I lived elsewhere and I could see civil society people. The environmental civil society are probably the most passionate and the most aggressive. They're the ones who tie themselves to trees and things like that. And I'm not saying we should go that way, but I just worry that our environmental organizations have become workshop organizations, and that's not just yourselves. It has happened with almost every other part of civil society. The movement part of civil society is gone. So I was a bit surprised to hear someone from Cross River State. Our pride. I love Cross River State, by the way, so I have a little bias towards the place. I absolutely love Cross River State. So what it has become quite a pain to me. But when civil society comes to a workshop in Abuja to talk about logging, in Cross River State, without talking about, so what is civil society doing, and how are you engaging the government, and what are you actually doing, to address this issue? And I realize that you are not government, so it is not your responsibility to do what government is. You're not going to be policemen standing on the road, but there's a certain action that brings things to the fore, that makes a difference, which is why the places like the council is also important. How do you engage a government in a way that ensures that the change we want to see happens? How do we go from conversation to action? That's really what has been missing from a lot of what we're doing. And how do we learn from other actions? I think to a large extent the HIV/AIDS campaign was very successful, but because the big men in Nigeria were also worried about catching it, so maybe that's why they were concerned, because that's an area that they're quite guilty. But the important thing is that campaign looked beyond traditional civil society. They engaged religious institutions.
Exactly.
They engaged traditional rulers. They engaged the media. I mean, everybody was on board with that campaign. So I think that the climate change one is something that is really urgent, that we also have to think outside of the box and see who are the people that we need to get on board. Who are the people who are the champions that we can identify. They may not be people who are even thinking about civil society, climate change at this point in time. But once you get them to understand the issues, tell, they will take it on board. And in every state, there are people who have access to government, who have access to the powers that be, and these are the people that need to be, encouraged to become part of the campaign. More importantly, and I think also that talks to the other presentation, which I absolutely